Welcome to the American Business Podcast. I'm Kevin Devecioglu. I'm welcoming you episode 114. The American Business Podcast is the voice of American business. As you know, we have a great partnership with missionstatements.com. And the quote of the day: we fight, get beat, rise, and fight again. Well, we have great guests today. I'd like to invite our guests to our virtual stage, and I'd like to get the conversation started. Hello, Alissa. Hello, Andrea. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Yes, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much for being with us. I hope you are well and you had a nice weekend. How was your weekend?
I had a great time. I went to visit friends and I got out and played in the snow a little bit. So,
Yeah, same here. It snowed like crazy, and I spent a lot of my weekend in service to my local community, my church, and it was full of love and family and community. Nothing better.
Yeah, this is great. Where are you based in, by the way, just for our audience and listeners to know?
So we're both New York expats. I hail now from Western Pennsylvania. Andrea?
From New Jersey.
Okay, yeah, this is great. So today we are streaming live from New York City. And in the last couple of weeks, we were in Houston, Texas, and the weather was really spring-like, which I really enjoyed. Right after I came back on Saturday, I met with snow, so that was a quite welcoming, holiday season type of weather for me. So I'm trying to get used to it. Well, this is good. So why don't we get started and have the conversation together? As a start, would you please introduce yourself and your organization to our audience and to our viewers, please?
Right on. Alissa Bickar, the consultress, business partner with Andrea Lane, the fearless real estate investor. Together, we run a business called Own Your Income. We are both very passionate about teaching people how to build a long-term legacy and financial stability through real estate investing.
Yeah, building the business, not just buying a property.
Amen.
This is great. Well, so you can tell us more about it. I like our audience to learn more. As next step, can you tell us about your career path a little bit? We are really curious about your background story in terms of your career. How did you get started? How your career has unfolded over the years?
Oh, wow. How much time do we have? I mean,
okay.
my long and short is I grew up in entrepreneurial family, went from corporate and fitness and finance and food and back again, only to realize I'm unemployable. So I built a consulting business, teaching people how to be their best selves by transforming through business. And I met this wonderful woman, Andrea Lane, who taught me all about how to build a systematic, sustainable business in real estate investment. So I want to hear your career path too.
Yeah. So I started in real estate more than 49 years ago. And I have built and sold and built and sold. And I love real estate, everything about it. While I was doing that, I also worked full time. I ran a technology bank until I retired in 2012 and do this full time. And then Alissa and I started together doing what I love the most in real estate, helping people build their real estate business, as opposed to everybody buys a property because they think that's what they should do. And they don't really know what they're doing because they don't have a business around it. So, yeah. So I've slowly built myself up. We own hundreds of units across the country. And and I teach people how to do it right.
This is really informative. Well, so um, you're heavily in you're in real estate industry, and you meet with different professionals. So when you think about your career and your work on daily basis, what are the exciting and challenging parts of your work on daily basis?
Go for it. So the challenging part is keeping it real and interesting. Like, I feel like if you want to do what we do with helping people in the industry, you need to work in the industry. And so, balancing basically two businesses, even though they're both real estate, they're very different, can be a little challenging, and figuring out how you're going to prevent the time conflict of what you need to do for which is probably one of the best challenges I personally have.
Yeah, and I find that building a real estate investment business requires you to see yourself as a leader, which is not easy to do when you're chief cook and bottle washer that owns the property. So building a vision that includes more than just, I'm going to buy a property and get mailbox money, checks in the mail. There's a lot more involved in it. So I find that, when we're talking to people about building that kind of business, they're thinking about it in terms of assets and diversification, which is great. And it's a piece of your financial picture, but also how to look at it as an ongoing development of who you are, because all my personal development came in the grand pursuit of business, and real estate investment is no different. You need to evolve and become more of who you're meant to be so that you can have the goals and dreams that you want. People are always selling themselves short about, I have to change my goals, edit myself, shrink. And that's just not so. When you have the right support, the right community, you can move mountains. But seeing people that have done it and traveled the road first is invaluable. And that's why Andrea and I work really well together.
So
go ahead.
I see things very differently from Alissa. I'm really a nuts and bolts person. I really get into the real estate industry, all facets of it. I do not think, I don't have a good imagination to think like Alissa does and mold people. I can just say, hey guys, you want this to work? I can make it happen. So
yeah, you need the willingness and the experience. So together we give them both sides of the equation.
Well, can you tell us about the state of real estate industry in general? How do you see the industry nowadays? What are the challenges and opportunities based on your experience and professional observation?
So I'm going to take that one because I see it as the perfect time to get involved in real estate. So many people now are afraid interest rates going up, prices are changing, they're not sure what the industry is going to do. What I know from 50 years of experience is 50 years from now, you're going to be sorry you didn't get involved today. Yes, you're going to have to do a little studying and understand what you need to do, but you do the correct underwriting now, you'll build a future for yourself that you can't even imagine what it's like. And so the industry, you're going to hear, everything's falling apart. Everything's blowing up. Don't buy now. Well, I always go against the grain. If they say don't, it's a good time to do.
Alissa?
Well, that is another, shifting the mindset piece, right? It's looking at opportunities versus problems. Most of us are wired to see problems. So in the state of any industry, depending on who you're asked, you're going to get very different responses. It's like the tale of two cities. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Yes, everything concurrent, but are you growing or are you diminishing? That's really the only question, is which way is your focus primed? So yes, things change, markets change. You need to stay agile and informed about your your marketplace. For example, I invest in Pittsburgh. I know what a house should cost. I know about what the utilities and taxes should cost. So I keep a pulse on those changing dynamics. Are rents going up? Is there a shortage of houses? But there's always a deal for someone, but being very clear on what's a deal for you can happen in any market. So we kind of don't subscribe to the sky is falling or you have to beware, but you have to be informed. And when you have information, you make educated decisions about how you can pivot your approach, pivot your buy box, what you're acquiring, pivot how you're exiting your investments, if that's your plan. And so just having the information and knowing to have good people around you to give you good information, because if it's front page news, it's already old news.
Okay, so let's dive a little deeper if that's okay, because you are sharing the educational information here for our audience. So let's say you are in your early 30s, you are working, you have a certain career, you have certain savings. So you're renting an apartment somewhere, New York City, Pittsburgh, somewhere in the nation. So what would be your advice for these professional in terms of investing in real estate and how to grow that investment over time?
So there's so many ways you can grow in real estate that that's a really hard question to just do a blanket statement.
Okay.
If you have the time and energy to devote and actually own the property and run it, that's one way to build it. In order to do that, you either need to have the money or know where to get money, right? So that's a very important tool to have in your toolbox. The other way is you don't have the time and energy, but you want to be involved. Well, that way you can do joint ventures with people who are involved or syndications, right? So there's an opportunity for both sides of the fence. If you're too busy, we have an opportunity for you. If you have time and you want to do it, there's an opportunity. What I see with many people now is their answer is they don't have the money. Right? It's really not the time. It's not what they want to do. They just say, oh, I don't have the money. I can't do it. And there are ways around that and ways you can improve your personal credit and your personal way of doing it, as well as finding partners to help it work for you. So money should not be an excuse, but that's what I hear often, especially nowadays when, rents by me, and I don't live in New York anymore, but rents by me are $2,500 for a studio, which how can you afford to pay rent, save money, and buy a house? Well, you can. You just have to be strategic and understand. And the knowledge is really important.
Yeah. And, if you're in your 30s and you're building your nest egg, you're building your savings, and you're looking to do something more, you have to take a look at your time continuum. That's one resource bucket. How much time, how little time do you have? Where do your interests lie? Where are your professional expertise and skills? Andrea and I run a podcast called Built for This, where we interview people and we want to know, where is your skill in your professional career? Where's your skill in your personal life? And how does that relate to your success in real estate investing? Because knowing who you are and what you're good at helps you to decide how to get involved in real estate. For me, when I first got involved, it was in the financial end because I had been in financial services. I understood lending. So I wound up learning first and foremost how to do private lending. And doing that and being part of deals as that passive person, I got to exposure to how people bring value to a deal. They're bringing the money, they're bringing their expertise, or they're bringing their network and the people they know to make the deal successful. So which piece are you really good at, and then solving for the other ones.
And so for those who are thinking about investing in real estate, is this the right time to invest, or they should wait till rates go down? I mean, it's a pretty common question. I'm sure you hear it from others as well. But what is your take, just for our listeners and viewers, to get some insights from you?
Yeah, so my insight is you do it now. It doesn't matter the market, whether it's down or up. You're going to find deals. You have to look for them. So the first thing, if you're concerned, get some knowledge behind you. Get around people who do it for a living and understand how it works and how you can make it work for you. And don't be limited to where you live to find the right property to build your portfolio, right? So, but now is the time. Everybody, for the course of my life, people have been telling me, nope, not good. Interest rates are high. Prices are high. Not enough inventory. Too much inventory. At the end of the day, if you bought a house 20 years ago, you're in better financial situation than if you hadn't bought that house. And I don't see that changing in the next 20 or 30 years.
So let's see. Well, based on your experience so far, are there any best practices or some use cases that you can tell us about? Based on what you have seen or what others actually practice, they're in a better position in their real estate investment, for example. Some, you don't have to name names or anything like that, but in general, some best practices or use cases that you can share.
So I
just
think
to
best
educate us.
practices, if you want to get into real estate, the first thing is people and a network. And I've had mentors through my life that have guided me and helped me to get to where I was. Because when I started, I knew nothing. I got in, I didn't want to pay taxes. So I had to find a way to lower my tax bill. So I made every mistake in the book. Now there is so much available and so many people out there that can help you. So find a coach, find a mentor, find a real estate group you can go to. Get to know people. The second, and sort of on level with the first, is gain the knowledge. Again, you can go on YouTube, you can go to Bigger Pockets, you can go many places to find information. I recommend that you find someone who will teach you step by step the general what you need to pull it together. And then you figure out what your one shiny star is going to be. Because in real estate, you have hundreds to choose from. And people will start and they'll say, oh, I like this. Oh, I like this. Oh, I like this. And they are successful at nothing. So finding your network, getting the knowledge, finding one thing you're going to focus on, and then action. And we can help people with where they want to be, where they're at, what they might want to do, how to get the money. What we can't do is give people the motivation to act. We can make suggestions. I'd like to take my hands and push people off the cliff and just say, go do it. But I can't, right? It's up to them. So that is actually, in my opinion, the hardest thing to do is take the action. The first step is the hardest. Once you own a property, it's easy. But the first one is really difficult.
Yeah. And I would totally agree that getting in motion is probably the most difficult step, because oftentimes we don't think we know enough to do a deal. We don't think we're ready. So we get stuck in preparation mode. Guilty. I've been there. I've done that. Should be writing the book about it. But when you surround yourself with people who've already done it, you start to learn like that it is no big deal. And so it is a big deal until it's not. And so like Andrea said about pushing people off a cliff, you can give everybody all of the information, all of the detail, all of the how-to, and this is what you need to know, and pack their brains full. What you can't do is give them their own motivation, but you have to know your own resistance, right? So this is the part for me about developing as a business owner, developing as a leader. That's just as important as knowing the knowledge is knowing yourself and being willing to sit with the discomfort of not having arrived yet. I want to be a real estate investor, but I'm not yet. So I think I have to be this person stepping out of an airplane with a $100,000 watch on. You have to address your limiting beliefs and be willing to step past them, because what you will find on that growth edge is that you're going to get to know yourself in a way that you might not have expected. And it will have you questioning some assumptions that have you taking a look at the rest of your career, the rest of your life up till now, and saying, wait, I could have done this differently. And you have to be willing to say, yes, but I have this new information now. And if you're willing to evolve, you're willing to take courageous action, because nothing's guaranteed, willing to take those risks and learn yourself over time, like that is the biggest gift. So like, yes, have people who are willing to hold you to that cliff and help you push yourself off, because you're going to build your wings on the way down, but also surrounding yourself with people who've done it before, so you can normalize that risk and take yourself out of fight or flight and into what's the next best step.
Mm-hmm. For the next generation business professionals who just graduated from college, they're in their early 20s, mid 20s, so they are getting ready. They are entering into job market, right? So they're also, how can they prepare themselves for a real estate investment, for example? You touched some of them, but just I like you to share some more insights if possible, because to your point, there is information available on YouTube and other social media channels, and some of them are misleading or different, right? So for those who are thinking about investing in real estate, but they're in their mid-20s or early 20s. How can they prepare themselves for this type of
Well,
investment?
I talked about education online,
Yes.
free, but I also talked about being out in real estate networks.
Mm.
Nowadays there are so many available to you. I know someone who lives in Idaho, and she does have, an hour and a half to get to her closest one. But in general, you have real estate groups all over now. People wanting to get together to talk about how it works, to learn from each other. Go to a conference. There are fabulous conferences out there that don't cost a lot of money. You need help finding them? Let me know. You can go and you can learn from others, and you can meet mentors there. Find a good mentor coach, someone who is on the trail you want to be on. I believe you have to be doing the work to be the person to offer the advice. But the one other thing I'm going to say, and this is for young people in particular, in many generations now, don't go to Starbucks and buy that coffee every day. Put that money in a piggy bank. And I know this sounds stupid, but people buy stuff that they don't need, and then they say, I can't buy what's important to them. So put some perspective, and Alyssa's much better at this than I am. Put some perspective around, where you're investing. Are you investing in the coffee, or are you investing in yourself and your future?
That's a great point. Alissa?
And also, when you're just starting out, everything can be noise. And I think to Andrea's point about finding a mentor, you need to know someone who helps you determine what's noise or bad information and what's useful. Because when you're first starting out, you're like baby deer, brand new, can't stand up on your own legs. And you need someone to show you, oh, okay, this is good information, and here's why. Because again, YouTube University is free 99, but it has so much volume of information that if you look at everything collectively, there's so much out there that contradicts itself. So knowing who to listen to and when. So you want someone who can help you to determine where you are and where you want to go, because that will help you narrow down what information you take in, because we live in the information age where everything's available. The curation of your focus, not only where you're going to put your money in that piggy bank, not in Starbucks's wallet, right? But where you're going to focus your time and attention. Attention is your number one currency. So knowing where to focus your attention so you can get the best value for your focus, it's not that far off from studying for your college exams. Knowing what good information is, though, that's new, because you've been given the textbooks, you've been given the teachers, you've been shown this pre-scripted path for so long. But guess what? Now is the point in time where you have to create the curriculum. And that can be a really daunting task that causes 90% or more to stop in their tracks and throw in the towel. Well, that's not instant gratification. That's not, I'm not a millionaire in 5 minutes. So finding someone who's in motion and in the business, it can be overwhelming, but check out your alumni groups. Check out real estate meetups, like Andrea said, online, virtually, and in person. But the most important thing is ask everybody that you know. It's so important to go back to the people side of this business, and in any business, really. But who do you know who is fanatical about real estate? Who do you know who is investing? Can I talk to them? Can I buy them coffee? And the biggest thing when you're looking for a mentor is thinking not what I can get from them, but what can I do to be valuable to this person? Because givers gain. It's an old axiom, but it's really true. If you're seeking someone's time and wisdom, don't just go with your hand out looking to receive. Go thinking, how can I give here? Because what I have to receive is clarity, knowledge, and wisdom that's going to shorten my learning curve, or that's going to point me in the right direction to be super successful as I grow.
So that, just to add one thing to what Alissa said, yes, ask people you know, but as she pointed out, and you may not have caught it, ask people who are in the real estate industry. Don't ask your mom and dad who only own their home. They're wonderful people. They love you to death. Oh my God, real estate is really, it's very scary. It's a high risk. They don't know what they don't know. So ask the people who understand what it is you're trying to do. That's what I had to add because it's so important. People just talk and they talk to their friends, and I can't do that. I mean, my friends have been telling me for years, you can't make money at that. You're going to lose money. It's very frightening.
Well, right. Prove them wrong.
In terms of, yes, go ahead, please.
I was just saying, does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the reason I actually ask you to dive deeper because this is very informative and you have years of experience. So I love our listeners and viewers to learn from you. In terms of and when we say real estate investment, we are not talking about buying a house to live in. We are investing into grow a portfolio, right? Grow an asset. So when you are starting this type of investment, is there a certain part of US that's really ideal to start? I mean, is it, for example, New York City or Pennsylvania or southern part of US or any other state? Like, is there any at least nowadays to start somewhere? You think?
So I'm going to say it depends. Every single question you ask me in real estate, that's probably how I'll start my answers. It depends.
Okay.
If you don't have money, and New York City is totally daunting, right? You can find deals, but the deals there are still expensive. There's a whole world out there. So what you need to do is find someone who works in the world that's not New York City, right? That's going to be the person that you're going to reach out to and find. And you can do different things outside of your comfort zone because it is daunting. You know, until I found Middle America, I lived in Brooklyn for 40 years, and now I live in Jersey. I didn't know there were places where you could pay, $1,000 a year in taxes. So finding that information, because I found people who did it. So it's really important, Alissa.
That's how I found Andrea. Honestly, I told my whole network, anyone who would listen, hey, I'm looking for people who I'm going to Pittsburgh. I was, again, from New York. I wanted to invest out of the New York marketplace. So I just started talking to people about what I was up to. And I said it in 3 different times. A name came out of 3 different mouths and they're like, you need to talk to TJ. So I went and found TJ's number and wound up talking to him. And then in motion of looking for people in Pittsburgh, all right, I'm going to visit. Who else do I need to know? And one of my dear friends were like, I think you need to know Andrea. So, this relationship would not have been possible unless I opened my mouth and told people where I was going, what I was up to, what I was looking for. And people like, you should talk to, and then get a number, get an intro, ask someone, could you introduce me? Because that's exactly how it happened. And, here we are 5 years later, Andrea and I are business partners, and she's been a mentor to me, a friend to me. And now we're helping to change the world by giving people more perspective and expertise that exists anywhere we could find about how to do this holistically, not just business all day, all the time, or kumbaya, self-development all the time. It's both. And so asking for people, who do you know, that's the most powerful question you could ask.
I just want to add one thing, because I keep talking about knowledge, finding mentors, finding someone to help you show you the way. I'm a real big believer in that. But when you're starting out, you need to be cautious about not only who you find, but what's their price point. Right? If you don't know you want real estate, if you're just touching the water, don't spend $50,000 of money you don't have to find out you don't want it. So be cautious about what you're spending where you're at. And I'm not saying it's free. If you want people to help you and grow, you're probably going to pay a little bit, but it doesn't have to be $50,000. It can be a whole lot more reasonable to learn what you need to know, to decide, oh, I want to do it. Okay, great. Now how am I going to do it from the next step forward?
This is really informative. Thank you for sharing your insights with us. Well, let's continue. I'd like to hear your thoughts about AI. What do you think about AI, and how do you see the impact of AI on business based on your professional experience and observation?
So I love AI. I write programs all the time, right? I've been doing it for the last 15 years. And now I can tell AI, here's exactly what I want to say and how I want to say it, but I'm really bad at English. I'm really bad at putting things nicely. AI wraps it up nicely. It can say, did you think of this? And what about this? And so I'm actually improving what I can offer to people by asking questions. Now, I'm asking the questions with the knowledge behind me. Don't do this if you don't know what AI is going to deliver, because God knows what you're going to get. But I know what I'm expecting. And when it asks a question, I can say, ooh, let me go look this up and do some research. So I find it incredibly beneficial. It can help you do everything from create a program to create a business, to create your vision. You put out there and you just keep saying, oh, here's what I want, blah, 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 blah. And you put it in and it will grow it for you and you can adjust it as you need it. It's just, I think it's an amazing, I don't think it's going to replace me anytime soon, but I think it's a fabulous tool to help me grow and help you grow.
Yeah. And I'll add to that, like, it is a fabulous tool. The one thing where I see AI having a negative impact in our world is that people are outsourcing their thinking. Oh, I'll just put it in here and I'll get something out. So crap in, crap out. If you're outsourcing your thinking, if you're outsourcing your creativity, then you might wind up going to hell in a handbasket faster than normal. So the same best business practices apply. You want to make sure that you're building what you actually want. You have that clarity, because AI will spin it up for you quicker than you can snap. But if you're giving yourself half-baked information or incomplete inquiry, you're going to scale a rabbit hole very quickly. And so one of the things I found for myself, I have to reel back out of AI tools sometimes, because I have to ask myself the questions, what do I want from this? And designing the prompt is like the creative part. And so if you're outsourcing your thinking and asking it to tell you stuff, just be very cautious that you're not using it to think for you, that you're leveraging, like Andrea said, you're leveraging your knowledge and expertise and you're accelerating the implementation. That's where it's most useful. Where it will get you in trouble is if you're relying on it to do your thinking, because if you see, the world has like oodles more content these days because it's iterating faster and we can spin up content and programs like this. It's creating more noise in the marketplace. Now you have to be more unique, you have to be more aligned, and your voice has to carry through more of that noise.
100%. You have to be really, really cautious with AI, but it is a fabulous tool to use. It offers so much ability to make yourself clearer. In my case, that's how I feel. It makes me clearer. And, so here's a great example. You can go ask AI a question, an IRS question, and don't ask it to look at the IRS. Just ask it a question and then say, okay, now go to the IRS document and you look for exactly what the IRS tells you. Well, I can promise you in many cases, not the same thing. So you have to be really cautious about what you ask for and how you ask for it.
And prompting it right.
Yes.
That's what I'm learning from you. Okay. Well, so you are both business owners, business practitioners. And nowadays, based on your experience, what are the best marketing practices that brings you the highest ROI?
Oh, please. In-person relationships. And I don't care if that's you're actually shaking hands or you're picking up the phone and developing a meaningful relationship, but nothing is going to trump being intentional with who you connect with. Because you can have the best offer out there and have ads and paid campaigns, but if you have no advocates and you don't have people who know about you, who already know, like, and trust you, like, that's really where the rubber meets the road. So again, I know we're sounding like a broken record right here, but the best ROI is meeting people and finding who you have affinity with to grow those relationships and keep them on your radar and keep yourself on theirs.
Yeah. So, I'm just going to say it briefly. What Alissa said is so true. Your network is your net worth. And in real estate, I think it's true in every business, but in real estate, your network better be very broad. You want people who are doing the business. You want people who are contractors, lawyers, title companies. You want the world. So being out there and meeting the people who can help you, or if they're not there, asking the people who are doing it, people who they know who do it, is the best marketing tool you have. Even a lot of what we do, we're marketing to people that we already have a market. I already have a network. So who do you know who might be able to avail yourself of something, right? It's the place you start with, knowing the people, handshaking. Hi, my name's Andrea.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm glad that you talk about networking. And to my point as well, that's the best marketing ever, that you build the relationship. And to your point earlier, it's not only about me. It's actually genuinely, sincerely building a relationship. What can I do for you? While learning about other person's business practices or ideal clients or other details that you like to learn to build a relationship. So that is I really appreciate it. Actually, you share these insights with our audience. Well, let's talk about leadership a little bit. How do you define leadership, and what are the great leadership qualities from your point of view?
I would say service. Knowing how someone gives, knowing how someone serves, is the best way to measure their leadership. Because you think it's somebody who's banging their chest. Like our preconception is somebody, I'm a leader, follow me. But the loudest one is not necessarily the right one for leadership. When I look for leadership in others, I look for how kind are they? How willing are they to overcome resistance in someone else or to help someone else understand something that seems to be difficult? Or are they trying to push their opinion and say, don't you agree, let's move? So I would say compassion and understanding are two of the main ingredients for leadership, and also being willing to be in reflection. Someone who's willing to take a look at things from other perspectives and not necessarily jump into action. For sure, taking action, but not someone who's jumping in blindly, who wants. So to me, it's about being introspective. And I think that creates more long range leadership than flash in the pan, pop, whiz, bang, and then fizzle out. Andrea, how about you?
Yeah. So I don't disagree with her, but for me, it's honesty and integrity. And it's not just being honest with other people. It's, am I honest with myself? Because I can only lead people where I believe they should be if I'm honest with myself. And so I think that's really important. And from a leader in the real estate industry, I will promise you, if you do something wrong, as big as the industry is, I can't tell you how often I get a phone call, don't do business with this person because, like, it's a very small, tight-knit. If you're not honest, if you don't hold your integrity to be the most important thing, I probably know things about people. Well, I know things about people they don't know I know, because it comes back. People don't hide it. So if you're not honest with yourself and honest with people and build your life on integrity and your business on integrity, it's going to come back to burn you. So I think that's really two qualities in leadership that I find really important. And then to be a good leader, in my opinion, in terms of what we're doing as mentors and coaches, it's find a leader who's in the business doing it now, not somebody who's done it 20 years ago and it worked, and it may work today, it may not, but they're not doing the business. They're just selling you a product. Find someone who's actually running a business of being in whatever it is you want to do.
Yeah, like finding a professor who's teaching a subject that you're actively involved in. Yeah.
Well, these are great insights. I appreciate it. So let's take a quick break, and we'll continue after the commercial break. Thank you very much. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Yelp. Do you know the biggest problem for small businesses nowadays? It is visibility. That is why Yelp Business is ready for you. Sign up Yelp for Business. Make your company visible for your customers to find you. There is an easy sign-up process. When you scan the QR code, it'll take you to a sign-up page. You can sign up and you can start your free trial with no obligation. Make it easy for your customers to find you. There are millions of customers visiting Yelp on daily basis. Based on the statistics that I got from Yelp, there are more than 70 million customers visiting Yelp on monthly basis, looking for services, looking for businesses, just like your business. Scan the QR code, sign up for Yelp, and make your company visible. Visibility is the key. It all starts with being searchable, findable, and visible. Yelp is the venue for you. Sign up for Yelp and start getting more leads and more customers starting today. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from YZ. At the American Business Podcast, we always talk about continuous improvement and professional development. That is why we partner with YZ, trust the nation's largest network for tutoring. YZ helps you find the tutor that you need in many different subjects: chemistry, computer, foreign languages, geometry, English, music, physics, reading, SAP, science, and many more. I have the QR code on the screen that you can sign up and start searching for tutors and enjoy the learning experience and continuous improvement as we always talk about in the American Business Podcast. Scan the QR code and sign up for YZ today. Thank you very much. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from DocuSign. DocuSign is the latest cloud-based digital and electronic signature management software system. You can manage your vendor contracts, supplier contracts, customer contracts, NDAs, and any type of legal and commercial documents and signatures digitally on DocuSign. DocuSign is cloud-based. It means you don't have to install any of your documents, keep any of your documents on your laptop or on your mobile device. Furthermore, DocuSign is equipped with intelligent agreement management capabilities, and it helps you automate and digitize your contracts, vendor contracts, and customer contracts quickly. It is modern, it is secure, and there are more than 1 billion users using DocuSign. True story. I use DocuSign regularly for vendor and customer contracts, and it works very smooth. Highly recommended. You see the QR code on the screen. Scan the QR code. It'll take you to the sign up page. Fill up the form, join the DocuSign community, and digitize and automate your contracts and documents right now, just like I do on daily basis. QR code on the screen, scan it, and enjoy the benefits of DocuSign starting today. Thank you very much. All right, we are back in the American Business Podcast. Well, do you have any mentors, any role models who help you shape your career journey over the years?
Aside from Andrea, I mean, do I need to say anything else? I mean,
Yeah. So I'll tell you that I've had dozens. So many I can't think of them. But if you want to talk just, I'm going to say recent. There are men and women out there who are in the field doing the business of real estate in many different ways, right? So if I can name names, so John Heyer is a tax accountant and a tax lawyer who really understands real estate and IRAs. He's been very beneficial in helping me gear things in the right way to build the business to make the most money at the end of the day. Pete Fortunato, who's been in the business longer than I've been alive, I think, he has a way of doing work that no coach or mentor is ever going to teach you, but his knowledge is invaluable, right? Those are they're really big names in the field, but there's names like Dave Corsi, who runs Amaria in New Jersey, who is just a font of knowledge and is willing to share it. So there are mentors all over the place. Some I pay for, some I don't, but they all mentor me in one way or another. There's some for short sales. There's some for buying properties. There's some for looking at storage, right? Wherever you're looking, there's a different person that can help mentor you where you're at. So, there's just so many. I only mentioned 2, but there's so many people out there who've helped to mentor me to allow me to mentor others like Alissa. So that's,
I mean, and then the feeling's mutual, right? I grew up in a family business, so my very first mentor was my father. That business is personal. There's nothing about business that is, kick it down the road. He took the ultimate responsibility. So I learned to take 100% responsibility for your community, the people you impact, your employees, your vendors, just to be the best person you can be. And my very first professional mentor, Mark Sieben, both these men, God rest their souls, but he taught me that you don't run away from problems, you run towards your solutions. And so to see everything as an opportunity rather so than, jump from thing to thing, but just to know yourself and to know what you want and go for it. And I mean, I could mention Jack Canfield, Patty Aubrey, Sean McCluskey. There have been so many that have helped me along my journey. But again, to save time, it wouldn't be fair to just start naming them all. But look inside your personal spheres of influence. There's probably a few people who are very meaningful to you. Those are great mentors because they teach you something, whether they're older than you or younger than you. I've learned so much from my children, from my daughter, from my son. So mentorship comes in all shapes and sizes.
Is there a book, a show, a movie that helped you shape your career perspective over the years?
Yeah. I'll say Jack Canfield and Tim Ferriss, The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss, and then The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. They revolutionized the way that I thought about success and the way I was able to define it on my own terms. It sent me on the trajectory that I now see as the last decade and a half of my life.
and I'm going to say The Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki has been, it opened my eyes, and the E-Myth from Michael Farber to, the lies you've told yourself or have been told, not intentionally, but, how to change your thinking to realize as an entrepreneur, you pay yourself first and then you pay the government. And I started in real estate to not pay taxes. Now, that wasn't a thing back then, but now you've learned different ways and tools, and those people teach you how to do things like that.
If you had to go back in time, personally or historically, what time period would you like to go back and why?
So I don't want to relive my life, and I don't want to go back to a different period to live. What I want to do is to go back to I'm going to say 1980, I'll be nice. And just change the way I did things. So buy more houses, change the way I spent money. I can't say, and I wouldn't want any of those things to alter the family and friends I have. So it would probably be a teetering balance on how I could make that happen. But I don't want to go back. I don't want to relive anything. I don't want to live anybody else's life, but just make a couple of tweaks to mine to make it better as I get older.
Alissa?
Listen, I don't know. I have 2. My first instinct was I would like to go back to the year 0. I wanted to see how the man of Christ lived and all the miracles. Not that I need that to believe, but I think that'd be really freaking cool to experience. I mean, the second thought, it was back to Eve. Don't touch that apple. But no, honestly, it's the historical view of how we are supposed to treat each other and to be kind and compassionate versus tearing each other down and stuff. I really think there have been multiple periods in history where we've had camaraderie, and one moment in time that I remember specifically of seeing just how good people could be to each other. And it sounds terrible, but it was the day after 9/11. And I was in Pennsylvania at the time, but I also heard from stories from my family in New York that everybody came out to help each other. Like they say, always look for the helpers. And so wherever there's a black cloud, there's always a silver lining. So maybe those unfortunate moments that we have all coded as bad, maybe just to go back to look at those and with the wisdom that we have today and go back and look and say, well, what benefit did this bring to my life? What learning did I get, or did society get, or the world at large? I know that's a deeper answer than you might have wanted, but
Well, I got my answer, so I appreciate it. Well, what is the best and worst advice you ever received in your career?
Don't do it. It's scary and you can lose money. And the best
worst advice ever.
Yeah, exactly. And when you're listening to people who haven't been there, that's what they give you because they don't know any better. So that to me is the worst advice I ever got.
And can I also just, worst advice ever is, Alissa, you need structure. Because what I've come to learn is that what I need is to create new structure for people who are stuck. So the shame that the amount of time it took me to overcome that I need external structure, worst advice ever. Because now I know better. And I was like, oh, if I didn't have to unlearn that as a truth, I'd have been so much further along.
Well,
best advice though,
go ahead.
Was run towards something. I already said that. But Andrea, back to you.
Yeah, no, follow your dream. That was the best advice I ever got. And my dream has not always taken me down the straight and narrow, nor has it always been a winner. But by following my dream allowed me to build on each step along the way to be where I am today. And I'm in a pretty good place.
Well, so far we discussed different subjects. And is there any question that you expected me to ask you, but I haven't asked you? I didn't ask you.
Oh, yeah, ladies, how'd you get so good looking? You know, we're dynamic over here.
I love it. Well, yeah, go ahead, Andrea.
No, I think you did really well here. I mean, the one thing I forgot to say, and I purposely wrote this down because I always forget it.
Sure.
The one piece of advice I can give to people when they're in real estate for what I've learned is don't over leverage yourself. I'm a big believer on borrowing the max you can, on not putting your money in when you don't have to, and you can do all that without over leveraging. So that's the one piece of advice I would like to leave with people. Get into real estate, buy it today, and don't over leverage.
What is your career advice for the next generation business professionals?
So I'm prejudiced. I'm in real estate, right? But whatever it is that your dream is, right? You could like Bitcoin, you can like stock, whatever it is, you do the same thing. You follow your dream. Working for somebody else can pay your bills every week, but what's going to pay your bills when you're 60 and 70 and Social Security isn't quite what you thought it was going to be, if it's even there. How are you going to support yourself? Find a dream that works and follow that dream.
Yeah.
Alissa, your career advice for the next generation?
Unlearn what you need to let go of, because we have been taught to think in this industrial age that what it is what it is, and it can't be changed. So my generation, my kids' generation, we've all learned apathy of like, oh, fine, whatever, it doesn't matter. But we all feel vulnerable when we get excited about things, and people are like, what are you so happy about? No, be happy. Follow that happy, because that's your future calling you. And don't be afraid, because as you follow that happy, the people who are going to try to be a crab in the bucket and drag you down, they're going to be that way anyway. So you might as well know. But if you're following that nudge that makes you happy, don't hide it and don't shy away from it, because that's your future calling you.
Yeah. The other thing, and I think this sort of aligns with what Alissa just said, keep the negative out of your life. You have friends and family, and you're not going to give up on them because they're your friends and family and you love them, but they don't have to be your primary source of information. And so, find the people that are positive and on the path you want to be on.
Well, in this episode, do you have any questions or question that you'd like to ask me?
Where did you get started? And what's your specialty?
Well, when I get started, you mean the podcast, am I right?
No, I mean in life, in your career path.
Oh, wow. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Turn the tables, Andrea. Let's hear
Well, we have time, so okay, next 60 minutes, then it's fine. Finally, I've been waiting for this moment. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for the question. Well, just briefly. So, my career, I started in 1994. That was my first work experience. So I've been in business more than 30 years now. So my business right now, is actually enterprise business software. So business software is my expertise. Software systems such as CRM, accounting software systems, or workflow systems, compliance systems, and so on. But my background is pretty multi-industry. I was in manufacturing industry before. I was in international trade. I was in pulp, paper, and packaging, very different from technology. So and other industries, consulting and professional services. So it's pretty much mixed. But to your point, so over time, anything that I experience helped me in my career path. That is for sure. So yeah, that's briefly how it is. And the podcast started earlier this year, so we are not in 1 year old as a podcast, but it's growing pretty fast, and looks like we are doing well. So yeah, this is my brief answer in 60 seconds. So I was actually talking to one of our, so I network a lot, right? As we discussed before. And then I was talking to one of my contacts, and we were chatting, and then he asked me like, "Hey, Kevin, what do you do?" And I said, I was talking about my CRM software system. I said, "Well, I have a CRM software system that's AI powered. It helps sales and marketing." He listened to me just patient, and he's like, "Okay, sales, marketing. So you have people make money. Is this correct with your software?" Yes, that's correct. So he just summarized it for me. So I have people make money with my software systems. So that was the lesson I learned. Just summarize as much as you can, but it's not always easy, right? So sometimes you need to get feedback, and then you learn how to summarize it. So it goes almost to the elevator speech, right? 10 seconds, how you're going to summarize it. So it's pretty challenging sometimes.
Well, thank you for sharing, because we always hear one side of the coin, right? And it's not.
Of course.
Hear others.
Yes. And primarily, that's how we designed the podcast. We love to learn from you. I just facilitate. I try to ask the right questions as much as I can to get the best out of you in terms of your professional insights that you can share with us, your professional wisdom, because decades of experience, you have a lot of knowledge. So we are here to learn from you. That's why we ask all the questions. But then recently we start to ask this question too. Then I can also share some insights and other questions. But this is great. I truly appreciate it. Well, before we leave, would you like to share your contact information with our viewers and listeners, those who like to continue this conversation with you? What is the best way that they can learn about your company and get in touch with you?
So the best way to get in touch with me is just Google Consultress. I am the only one. I am some of the lead generation and community facilitation for our business, which is Own Your Income. So please just look me up on social. Instagram is one of my favorite places to get direct messages. So just look up Consultress on Instagram. But our company page, so if you want to just look us up, you can look at the builtforthisshow.com. That's where our podcast lives. And our company page for Own Your Income is on LinkedIn. You can also find Andrea Lane, the Fearless Real Estate Investor, on Facebook and LinkedIn, as well as our company page. Look her up if you want any information about real estate. Like that is all her content. She is obsessed. Contact Andrea Lane, the Fearless Real Estate Investor. Yes, the in front of her name, because she is the Fearless Real Estate Investor.
I love it. Well, thank you very much for this sharing, and I truly appreciate your time. It was actually very informative and educational, this particular podcast, and how measured you are and how generous you are in terms of sharing your experience. I truly appreciate it on behalf of me, of course, our team, our viewers. Truly appreciate it. Thank you so much for being with us in your busy schedule, and thank you for sharing your professional wisdom and your professional insights with us.
And thank you for having us, Kevin.
Pleasure is all mine. Thank you so much, and have a great week.
You too.
You too.
Appreciate it. To our audience, to our viewers and listeners. We'll be right back after the quick break. Thank you very much. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Otter AI. Otter is the AI note taker that builds your knowledge and powers your workflow with transcription, automated summaries, AI chat, and more. Get your AI-powered assistant for meeting notes, tasks, and more. Scan the QR code on the screen and sign up today. Otter AI is the latest note taker that you can utilize, and you can set your meetings, you can take your notes, and you can also set up your follow-up actions automatically with the help of the Otter AI. Scan the QR code and sign up today. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from iStock. iStock is offering you the latest visuals for your marketing projects, advertising projects, and other projects that need communicative latest visuals. Right now, iStock is offering you 20% discount if you start shopping today. I have the QR code on the screen. When you scan the QR code, you can start your shopping experience with iStock immediately. Whether you are looking for visuals designed by professionals or you are looking for visuals designed by AI, iStock is offering you all these options starting today. Please scan the QR code and start shopping visuals on iStock website. Remember, there is 20% discount when you start shopping today. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Opus Virtual Offices. Opus is offering you more than 600 different locations in the US. It is $99 a month. This includes prestigious business address, professional live call answering, personalized call transferring, business phone number, local phone number, professional mail services, voicemail converted to email. I have the QR code on the screen. You can sign up for Opus today. Opus is offering you hundreds of locations in the US that you can pick, any of them that you like, and you can start having your virtual office today. Please scan the QR code and start using Opus Virtual Offices today. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Gemini Trust. Gemini makes crypto simple. Find, trade, and buy over 70 different coins, including Bitcoin and Solana, on the best cryptocurrency platform. Gemini Trust. Start trading crypto here. I have the QR code on the screen. You can scan the QR code and start signing up today. Because they have a great customer service, you can reach out to them and get assistance 24/7. Scan the QR code and start trading crypto on Gemini. Thank you for your support. It is time to sign up for the online monthly networking event. Networking and podcasting together. It is called Connectional America Business Alliance, partnered and powered by the American Business Podcast. During this unique business networking event, you'll be able to meet with other business professionals. At the same time, you will be in the American Business Podcast in front of thousands of business-minded YouTube subscribers, viewers, and listeners of the American Business Podcast, the voice of American business. Connection America online monthly networking events are interactive. You'll be able to meet with other seasoned business professionals, and at the same time, you'll be able to interact with viewers and audience. That's a unique event. It is because it's podcasting plus networking. If you are in business, you should be networking. And if you're not networking, you are losing business every single day. That is why we created online monthly networking event called Connection America Business Alliance, CABA in short. Scan this QR code and sign up today. When you scan the QR code, you'll see the list of coming monthly online networking events. Pick the one that works for you and sign up. We have limited seating, and today is the great day to sign up for online business networking event. Networking plus podcasting. That is a unique online business networking opportunity. You can introduce yourself, your products and services, and you'll be able to network with other business professionals live on the American Business Podcast. Scan the QR code and sign up today. I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Thank you for your support. Thank you for watching the American Business Podcast, the voice of American business. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you'd like to be a guest in the American Business Podcast, please send us an email, americanbusinesspodcast@gmail.com. We welcome sponsors and advertisers. For sponsorship and advertising opportunities, please send us an email, americanbusinesspodcast@gmail.com. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We truly appreciate your support. I have the QR code on the screen. You can scan the QR code and join us. And if you are feeling more generous, also share your comments in the chat box. We'll truly appreciate it. And your subscriptions and your thoughts, your comments really help us. We truly appreciate your support. I'd like to thank you for your time and for your interest. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the coming The American Business Podcast episodes. The American Business Podcast is the voice of American business. Thank you very much and have a great day.